This isn't just a zombie or vampire, this is the Jiangshi, the undead corpse that hops through the night. Originating from Chinese folklore, they're often found in rural villages, forests, graveyards, and old roads. Being especially active at night, they appear as rigid preserved corpses. With paler greenish skin, glowing white eyes, their arms are stretched forward because their bodies are stiff, and instead of walking, they hop around while wearing Qing Dynasty burial robes. They hunt living humans to feed on their life force called qi, and they're not driven by emotion, only instinct. The Jiangshi kill because they are spiritually unbalanced. Jiangshi are created when a corpse dies violently, or was buried improperly, possessed by negative qi, or reanimated through Taoist sorcery. So they drain qi to stabilize themselves, delay decay, and sustain their unnatural existence. In some legends, their bodies were magically reanimated to transport their bodies back to their homeland. But something went wrong and the corpses awakened hungry. They don't hate humans, they're just starving. Not to worry though, the Jiangshi are not invulnerable, as they have a crippling weakness to sunlight. They can also be immobilized by placing Taoist talismans on their forehead. This allows more than enough time to fend them off and kill them for good with a coin sword. This special sword, if I'm pronouncing it right, is called a Bixiajin, used for fending off and neutralizing evil spirits. And of course, they're weak to bells, chants, spells, and holy items. In pop culture, the Jiangshi appears in Mr. Vampire, as well as other Chinese cinema and Hong Kong horror, and even appearing in video games like Kingdom Hearts, and the Jiangshi Shenko, aka Lele from Darkstalkers. The Jiangshi don't crave blood, only balance, and you have what they're missing. If you want to learn about more creepy Chinese entities, follow for more. Not all monsters hide in the dark, some hide in plain sight. Introducing the Rakshasa and Rakshasi. Originating from India, they're found in Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain mythology, and they're located in forests, battles, cemeteries, and remote locations. And the Rakshasa and Rakshasi all live as one race. Rakshasa for male and Rakshasi for female. The Raksha race are all capable of turning into humans, and you may catch a Rakshasa or Rakshasi slipping while they're in human form. They can have backwards feet, unnatural shadows, or glowing eyes. When Rakshasas are in their true form, they are terrifying. They can stand from 7 to 10 feet tall, sometimes 12 or more. Their skin ranges in color. They stand muscular and imposing, and they have claws, fangs, tusks, and glowing eyes. Some of them have multiple arms and reversed feet. Rakshasis in particular are known for being beautiful and alluring in human disguise, but in true form they are monstrous, standing from 6 to 9 feet tall, menacing with large bellies, long teeth, and tangled hair. The most powerful of this species is Ravana, who deserves his own video. These entities live to deceive, corrupt, manipulate, kill, and disturb balance and peace, often infiltrating societies, pretending be rulers, lovers, priests, and friends, destroying people emotionally before killing them physically. Why would they do this? Because violence and chaos pleases them. They were created this way. Ancient beings older than humans, capable of shapeshifting and super strength, illusions and dark magic, mind manipulation, near immortality, and possession. But not without weakness, as they are weak against holy chants and mantras, sacred weapons, and being exposed. As once revealed, they lose much of their power. In media, they are portrayed in Ramayana, Dungeons and Dragons, and video games like Final Fantasy. The scariest monsters don't present themselves as monsters, not initially anyway. If you want to learn about more monsters and demons, follow for more. Some ghosts haunt places, others haunt people, just like the Onryo. Originating from Japan, an Onryo is a vengeful human spirit born from extreme emotional suffering, especially betrayal, abuse, or humiliation. Unlike other creatures and spirits created by nature, the Onryo are created by trauma. The Onryo were once living humans, most of the time they're women, who died with unresolved rage, grief, jealousy, and despair. Their unresolved resentment warped their souls, and they appear with pale or bluish-white skin, long, unkempt hair, a white burial kimono, limp or unnatural posture, and their feet sometimes not touching the ground. often having sunken, dark, or faintly glowing eyes, with a face frozen in rage, grief, or emptiness. The Onryo are capable of inflicting curses, including illness, madness, or death, causing poltergeist activity, manipulating dreams, and tend to manifest during moments of emotional weakness. And as they're driven by revenge, they lash out. To deal with an Onryo requires giving proper burial rites, offering apologies and acknowledgement of wrongdoing, Buddhist prayers or exorcisms, and hoping they let go of resentment. The most famous depictions of the Onryo include Oiwa from Japanese mythology, who deserves her own video, Sadako from Ringu, aka The Ring, and Kayako from Ju-on, aka The Grudge. Onryo aren't born monsters. They're the results of what happens when pain is ignored for too long. If you want to learn about more vengeful spirits, follow for more. Some monsters terrorize people, others just mind their own business. Introducing the Loch Ness Monster, the most famous lake monster in the world. The Loch Ness Monster, aka Nessie, is located in the cold, deep, freshwater lake of Loch Ness, Scotland. The Loch Ness Monster Nessie makes a large, dark silhouette, often compared to a plesiosaur, and approximately 20 to 40 feet in length. Large with a 6 to 10 foot tall neck, small head, rising humps, dark grayish or greenish skin, as well as having large flippers. Sightings of the Loch Ness Monster date back to 1500 years. One of the earliest accounts come from St. Columbia in the 6th century. Its modern fame exploded in the 1930s with this famous photograph. While this photo was later revealed to be a hoax, sightings never fully stopped after that. Nessie doesn't attack villages or lure humans, it simply exists, becoming more of a symbol of mystery than a threat. In modern media, the Loch Ness Monster is portrayed in the 1961 comedy film What a Whopper, children's media like in books, as well as cartoons such as Lorna McNessie, the daughter of the Loch Ness Monster from Monster High, who I happen to have a doll of and she's super cute. Nessie has inspired the Lake Nose Monster in Phineas and Ferb, the Serpent Mage. It's featured in the Harry Potter universe. Dory from the Super Mario series is referenced by the Loch Ness Monster, and there are multiple documentaries of the Loch Ness Monster that you can watch. Maybe the Loch Ness Monster doesn't want to be found, and maybe that's the point. And honestly, who could blame it? If you want to hear about more lake monsters, follow for more. I want to talk about the Mari Coxie. I first heard about it because I'm a Monster High fan and collector. When Marisol Coxie was introduced as an exchange student, the daughter of the South American Bigfoot, I even have a doll of her. I think she's cute. But later I learned that her name comes from a play on the term that comes from South American colonial era accounts. The Marikoxi or Marikohi were described as a race of forest-dwelling, humanoid, hairy forest dwellers with weapons, just like a cryptid. Here's the important part. It was used as a derogatory term by European settlers towards indigenous people, especially those who resisted colonization or were deemed as uncivilized. It was used to dehumanize people and to justify violence, enslavement, and displacement. So while Marisol herself isn't malicious, she's cute, sporty, and confident, her name still draws from a term that carries colonial baggage. Looking back, some parts of Monster High Generation 1 didn't age well. I still love Marisol, and it's okay if you do too. It does not mean that you're endorsing colonial harm. It's just a reminder that sometimes mythology and folklore isn't always a harmless fantasy. Sometimes they carry a lot of history with them. He's one of the most documented creatures in the world, and yet still hasn't been caught. It's Bigfoot, everyone. Bigfoot sightings are most commonly reported in North America, especially the Pacific Northwest, residing in dense forests and mountains. Bigfoot is typically described as a humanoid, 7 to 10 foot tall hominid-like creature. Broad shoulders, heavily muscular, covered in thick brown, black, or reddish hair, long arms that hang lower than a human's, disagreeable smell, and large 15 to 24-inch feet, approximated by large, iconic footprints. Indigenous North American tribes described Bigfoot beings long before European colonization, often as forest guardians, wild men, and spiritual nature beings. The modern Bigfoot legend grew in the 20th century after eyewitness reports and footprint discoveries. especially following the 1958 Bluff Creek tracks and the 1967 Patterson-Gimlin film. Depending on belief, Bigfoot might be a remaining hominid surviving among humans unnoticed, a nature guardian avoiding civilization, or a symbol of the unknown, and are generally described as reclusive and non-aggressive. Bigfoot doesn't hunt humans, though he may attack on the defensive when he's being territorial or when provoked. Sometimes disappearing hikers get linked to Bigfoot, but there's no evidence. Bigfoot possesses exceptional strength, high intelligence, extreme stealth, and possible vocal mimicry. Modern depictions of Bigfoot include that of Harry and the Hendersons, The Legend of Boggy Creek, Sasquatch the TV document series, The X-Files, and is featured in video games like Fallout. Whether Bigfoot is real or not, the fact that he still walks through our imagination says something about what we haven't finished understanding. If you want to learn about more hominid creatures, follow for more, and comment what mythical entity or being you want to hear about next. Imagine a creature that is the storm, born from lightning, feeding on blood, and controlled by witches. This is the Impundulu. The Impundulu is located in South Africa, especially Zulu, Xhosa, and Pondo folklore, often associated with mountains, storms, and remote villages, often described as a massive bird-like creature. Black or dark bluish feathers, white or glowing markings, and piercing glowing red eyes, varying in size as a large eagle, or as tall as a human or larger. The Impundulu can transform into a handsome man, often draining its victims over a period of multiple nights, draining their blood through love bites. The Impundulu is believed to have been born from lightning strikes, often bound to witches and sorcerers, said to be passed down through families like a cursed inheritance, and it will act as a familiar, servant, and weapon, used to kill enemies, protect its master, and spread illness and misfortune. It feeds on human blood to sustain its existence, as well as to provide itself power and maintain its bond to its master. The Impundulu can summon thunderstorms, conjuring lightning with its wings and talons. It can fly at impossible speeds, potentially capable of immortality and longevity. However, it's not without its weaknesses. It cannot act freely unless commanded by its master. Exposing and destroying the witch can weaken and banish it. Some say rituals and spiritual protections can ward it off. Unfortunately, the Impundulu is not widely recognized in fiction. This is due to the fact that Western media often ignores or at the very least underappreciates African mythology. Though the Impundulu is giving Griffin from Devil May Cry 5. Some cultures fear the dark, others fear the storm. If you want to learn about more mythical creatures from African mythology, follow for more. And leave in the comments what creatures or beings you want me to share next. Before bedtime stories were gentle, there was Black Annis. Originating from England, she comes from Leicestershire in the Midlands, said to live in hollow trees, dark forests, and caves. She hunches over and she's unnaturally thin, often described as a blue-black or coal-black faced hag, with long iron claws, a protruding fang, sometimes an animal-like or leathery face, and she wears a cloak made of human skin, especially children's. She lives to kidnap and eat disobedient and wandering children, skinning them and wearing their hides. A shame, really, as she may have been a goddess in a past life, either Anu, the Proto-Celtic mother goddess, or Cailleach, the British or Irish winter goddess. Or Black Annis may have been some other nature spirit, turned monstrous through Christianization, degraded over time into a child-eating, wearing hag witch, with her story being used to frighten children into behaving. A capable witch, she is capable of supernatural strength, extreme stealth, night vision, and possibly shapeshifting. She doesn't appear much in fictional media, but she does have a Van Helsing comic book. Some monsters aren't meant to entertain, but to control, so adults don't have to explain the real world. If you want more bedtime horror stories of witches, follow for more, and comment what mythical creatures or beings you want me to share next. Ever heard of a horse that drags you to a watery grave? Meet the Kelpie, the Scottish water monster that's as dangerous as it is beautiful. Originating from the lochs and rivers of Scotland, these shape-shifting creatures lurk just beneath the surface, waiting for unsuspecting travelers. Most of the time, a Kelpie looks like a normal horse. Sleek, beautiful, alluring. But when it's ready to strike, the Kelpie basically goes into kill mode. Its mane turns wet and matted. Hooves may be webbed or flippers, and its eyes burn with malevolence. Its goal: drag anyone who touches it into the water and drown them. Its then wet, matted fur turns so sticky that it makes it nearly impossible to escape. It preys on humans, targeting those who walk a little too close to the edges of the lakes and the rivers. Folklore suggests kelpies are ancient spirits of water, embodying the dangers of rivers and lochs. Some tales say they were cursed. Some say they were born to protect the water. Others say they're the remnants of ancient sacrifice used to appease water deities. Or they are simply malevolent spirits with a taste for human flesh. But one thing's consistent: they're not to be trusted. Some legends say the kelpie can be tamed by stealing its magical brittle, but this is no easy feat, as most have tried and failed miserably. In pop culture, they are depicted in Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, The Secret of the Kelpie, and even the Witcher series. So the next time you see a horse drinking by a river, maybe just admire it from afar. If you want more cool, creepy horror stories, follow for more. Today we're talking about Lamia, one of Greek mythology's most terrifying figures, but not exactly how you might think. Lamia was said to haunt ancient Greece, roaming the countryside and preying on children, though her story changes depending on the source. Classical and modern sources depict her as a half-woman, half-snake, with the upper body of a woman and the lower body of a snake. Other depictions are more terrifying, with her as a four-legged beast, with scaled skin, beast arms, goat legs, and a tail. Originally, Lamia was a beautiful woman and queen who caught the wrath of Hera. This was due to her affair with Zeus. Some myths say she could never sleep again. Some say Hera took or killed her children. Others say Lamia killed her own children herself, and even ate them. Zeus felt bad for her, and he gave her the gift of prophecy and the ability to take out and reinsert her own eyes, likely due to Hera cursing her with insomnia or the inability to close her own eyes. It's unlikely that she was originally portrayed as a half-snake woman, as the snake woman imagery likely comes from conflating her with Medusa, as well as other figures in ancient Greece associated with snakes. She became a cautionary figure, said to devour children and men alike, embodying grief, rage, and loss. In modern media, she's portrayed in everything from Dungeons & Dragons to video games like Lamia Must Die, and plenty of portrayals in anime. Whether she's a legged beast or a seductive serpent, Lamia reminds us that myths evolve over time, and sometimes the scariest monsters are born from human fear and grief. If you want to learn about more Greek myths and snake ladies, follow for more, and comment what mythological entities you want me to share next. Ever wake up unable to move, something on your chest, and a feeling you're about to die? That wasn't just a bad dream, that was the mare. Located in northern and central Europe, she appears indoors, specifically bedrooms, sleeping chambers, and anywhere someone is asleep. There are many mares, and they are usually female, but they can be male as well, and they can take form of a shadowy, gaunt, human-like figure, able to transform into black mass or mist, and they can even transform into animals, such as cats and dogs, horses and imp-like figures, and even an elderly hag. The word nightmare literally comes from the mare. It crawls and sits on the sleeper's chest at night, feeling like crushing weight. They feed on fear and vulnerability, causing nightmares and inducing sleep paralysis, creating a sensation of being watched, crushed, and unable to scream or move. Folklore says it can be a witch or a cursed woman, a spirit sent by magic, or someone whose soul leaves their body at night to torment others. In Scandinavian lore, some mares didn't even know they were mares. As for their victims, they would wake up terrified. In folklore, some mares act out of envy. Others are cursed. Some are punishing the living. But the majority of them do it because they can. Not only do they shapeshift, induce sleep paralysis, and cause vivid recurring nightmares, they can pass through walls and keyholes as well. They can even tie hair into knots and leave bruises and breathlessness. Folklore defenses include turning shoes upside down, placing iron near the bed, saying prayers or protective charms, and even sleeping with specific symbols. However, none of these defenses always work. They take many depictions in horror movies, and even video games have nightmarish beings like Hellblade's Senua's Sacrifice. So next time you wake up frozen, heart racing, and swear something was sitting on your chest, remember, the mare didn't disappear. It only learned a new name. If you want to learn about more nightmarish beings, follow for more, and comment what mythical creatures or entities you want me to share next. You know vampires, but do you know the different kinds? This is the Moroi. Moroi originate in Romanian, Balkan, and Slavic folklore, especially Wallachia, Transylvania, and surrounding regions, and they exist in the same ecosystem as the Strigoi, but they're not the same. The Moroi appear as human, sometimes even alive, except they're not. They appear pale and sickly with restless eyes. Some say they leave the body at night, appearing as smoke, mist, or an invisible presence. They are said to be souls born out of wedlock, the seventh child in large families, or born with a membrane over their face. Unlike normal vampires, they don't drink blood, they drain energy. They cause illness and bring exhaustion, ruining crops, draining luck and vitality, and even trigger bad dreams and anxiety. They can be stopped, but not easily. Methods include garlic, iron, rituals, destroying the body, and even burning and staking them. In modern media, they are portrayed in Warriors of Myth, Vampire Academy, and even in a video game titled Moroi. They are monsters not because they want to be, but because someone said they didn't believe they get to rest. If you want to learn about more vampires, follow for more, and comment what mythical creatures or beings you want me to share next. Ever wake up unable to move, feeling watched or crushed? In Germanic folklore, that terror has a name, the Alp. Alps appear as shadowy humanoids, often wearing a magical hat called a Tarnkop, granting them magical abilities such as shapeshifting, sometimes into animals such as cats, birds, or butterflies. They sit on your chest while you sleep, drain your energy, and feed on your fear, causing nightmares, suffocation, and sleep paralysis. They can shapeshift, turn invisible, slip through keyholes, and enter homes unnoticed. If you ever encounter an Alp, removing its hat will remove its power. They're not popular in fiction, though I did find them featured in a webtoon, a Tapas webtoon by the name of Mythic Mayhem. So if you've ever felt pinned down in your sleep, maybe it wasn't just your brain. If you want to learn about more nightmarish beings, follow for more, and comment what mythical creatures or beings you want me to share next. If you fall into the water, she'll make sure you never come back up. This is Jenny Greenteeth. In English folklore, Jenny Greenteeth lurks in rivers, ponds, canals, and stagnant water. She's described as a green-skinned hag, with long tangled hair, sharp teeth, and fingers like claws, and often camouflaged by algae and duckweed. Jenny Greenteeth is a water witch or water spirit used to explain drownings, especially in dangerous or still waters. She drags victims beneath the surface, holding them down until they drown, sometimes as a cautionary figure, sometimes as a figure used to keep children away from unsafe water. She can blend perfectly into her environment, grab with inhuman strength, and vanish beneath the water without a trace, though moving water or deep currents are believed to drive her away or weaken her. In modern media, she's featured in Molly O'Neill's Greenteeth, Terry Pratchett's Discworld series, Mythic Mayhem, and she's a direct inspiration of Meg Mucklebones from Legend. So if the water looks still, maybe it's not empty. If you want to learn about more watery hags and monsters from rivers and swamps, follow for more, and comment what mythical creatures or beings you want me to share next. If you get lost in the forest and the trees start laughing at you, it's already too late. You will encounter the Leshy. In Slavic folklore, located in Russia, Poland, Belarus, Ukraine, and Czech regions, the Leshy resides in deep forests, old woods, and places humans wouldn't linger. The Leshy appears as an imposingly tall, elderly man made of bark and moss, having antlers or branches growing from his head, with glowing hollow eyes, long green hair and beard made of vines, and even having hooves and a tail. The Leshy can shapeshift, able to thrive in his domain in the forest, towering taller than trees in the forest, and able to shrink as small as grass when leaving it, and able to disguise himself as a normal elderly man, having a long green hair and beard, and no eyebrows or lashes, wearing his shoes on the wrong feet, and casting no shadow. The Leshy exists as an ancient protective forest spirit, living to protect the forest, tricking villagers and even animals. He leads travelers astray, mimicking human voices, laughing, whistling, and calling your name, punishing disrespect toward nature, and even abducting and killing people. Killing not out of cruelty, but territory. Hunt or cut trees too much, mock nature, or wander where you shouldn't, then the Leshy decides if you leave or die. He can turn into a whirlwind of leaves, turn invisible, capable of superhuman strength, can change the forest paths, and even warp distance and direction. He's not without his weaknesses, though. When dealing with the Leshy, it's best to wear clothes inside out, walk backwards, say prayers, make the sign of the cross, and even leave offerings, such as bread, for example. In modern media, he's portrayed in the Witcher series, the video game Inscription, Cult of the Lamb, featured in Grimm, Hellboy, and was even portrayed in Supernatural, and for some reason was played by Paris Hilton. So if you ever hear your name whispered in the woods, don't answer. The forest already knows you're there. If you want to learn about more forest spirits, follow for more, and comment what mythical creatures or beings you want me to share next. Imagine seeing someone who looks exactly like you, knowing they're not you. They are called doppelgangers. Doppelgangers can be from all around the world. The word doppelganger literally means double goer in German. A doppelganger is an exact double of a living person. Same voice, same face, same mannerisms, and sometimes slightly off. And originally they weren't evil clones or twins, but rather omens, as seeing your doppelganger was believed to have meant impending death, illness, or misfortune. They don't always attack, just appear, observe, or briefly replace you. And even if they are victimizers, some say they can drain life, induce madness, or slowly erase the original by living their life better than them. Not only they are capable of perfect mimicry, they can appear in reflections, dreams, crowds, and sometimes they're only visible to the original. In modern media, they're portrayed in Enemy, Us, The Outsider, Silent Hill, The Witcher, Black Swan, The Double, and even children's media like Bratz Kids Sleepover Adventure. So if you ever see someone who looks exactly like you, it may not always be the best idea to follow them or even acknowledge them. If you want to learn about more mysterious figures, follow for more, and comment what mysterious entities you want me to share next. Zeus is boring. He's boring as a god, and his behavior is exhausting. I don't care that he is the god of the sky and storms, it needs to be said that he is boring. All he does is sleep around, constantly cheat on his wife, does the pettiest shit when angered, constantly breaking his own rules, never taking any responsibility for any of his many illegitimate children, and he constantly tries to make sure he stays in his position of power. And another thing, he would be powerless without the other gods and immortal figures. He's not even the oldest of his siblings, he's actually the youngest. All the others were just eaten by his father, and Zeus had to save them, which he only did because his mother Rhea saved him. He was raised by Gaia, who decided it was time for new leadership. Then, when it was time to take down his own father, he and his then-wife Metis poisoned his father, so that Zeus's father Cronus would spit out all his children, Zeus's siblings. Then, when the actual battle happened, Zeus didn't even create his own lightning bolts. They were created and forged by the Cyclopses. And weren't the Hecatoncheires the ones who put Cronus down for good? The Hecatoncheires were the ones who hurled a bunch of rocks and boulders at the Titans, including Kronos. Then, after Kronos and the Titans were defeated, Zeus then absorbed his then-wife Metis. This was because he got her pregnant and was told that the children she would bear would overthrow him eventually. So he absorbed Metis, and it was only then he gained insight and wisdom. And he didn't even earn his status as ruler of the gods. He drew lots with his brothers. Not for strategy or merit, just a case of, congrats, you pulled the sky. For a god who insists he's the embodiment of justice, order, and leadership, this origin is embarrassing. And after he became leader, he went on to bang everything that moves, except for the sea nymph Thetis, because her children would have overthrown Zeus. And he's not only a serial cheater, he's taken advantage of so many women, gave a bunch of women unsolicited pregnancies, and he never learns. He's such a predator. He'll even steal away youthful males like that Ganymede fellow to make them his cupbearers if they're pretty enough and young enough. He's like one of those Mary Sue main characters in anime. A wish fulfillment avatar for unchecked male authority. He's just boring, exhausting, and gross. Seeing yourself before you die isn't a hallucination, it's an omen. This entity is called the Fetch. Originating from Ireland, the Fetch commonly appears at twilight, near roads, doorways, or crossroads, and close to the person it is mimicking. Like a doppelganger, a Fetch is an exact double of a living person. But unlike doppelgangers, they are not physical entities, they are spirits. And they don't replace, they precede. The Fetch are believed to be omens of death, or the spirit of a person ahead of time. If you see the Fetch in the morning, you'll live long. If you see it at night or in the evening, your death is imminent. Seeing someone else's Fetch means they will die soon. They don't appear or speak. They simply appear to warn that time is running out. The horror is in the silence. They're capable of perfect mimicry, can show up in multiple places. They know when and where the death will occur. And they only appear when death is sealed. You can't fight it, you can't outrun it. The Fetch doesn't cause death, it confirms it. And in modern media, they're portrayed in the 2024 film The Fetch by J.C. Doller. If you see yourself walking toward you, don't follow. It's already too late. If you want to learn about more spirits, follow for more, and comment what mythical creatures or beings you want me to share next. Before Zeus ruled the sky, before the Olympians even existed, night already had a name: Nyx. From ancient Greece, she dwells in Tartarus or the far edges of the cosmos, traveling the sky every night, bringing darkness with her. Nyx appears as a shadowy winged woman, cloaked in the stars or darkness, riding a chariot of night. Her presence is felt more than seen. As the goddess of night, she is one of the protogenoi, one of the primordial Greek gods, and one of the first beings to ever exist, born directly from chaos and existing before the Titans. Even the likes of Zeus feared her. There's a myth where Zeus considers punishing Hypnos, but he backs down when he realizes Nyx would retaliate. As the goddess of night, she is the personification of night itself, bringing darkness, rest, fear, dreams, and inevitability. She doesn't rule night, she is night. She has absolute dominion over darkness, power over fate-adjacent forces, and she's a mother of terrifying concepts such as death, sleep, strife, and retribution. She has no recorded weaknesses, and no myth showing her defeated. Even the King of Gods doesn't cross her. In modern media, she's depicted in Hades, the video game, Percy Jackson, Marvel Comics, and even God School, an animated series on YouTube. The gods fear many things, but even they sleep when night arrives. If you want to learn about more night gods and goddesses, follow for more, and comment what mythical creatures or beings you want me to share next. Before sleep paralysis had a name, people blamed the Alu. From ancient Mesopotamia, they're believed to roam in bedrooms, rooftops, and deserts at night. Often invisible, they're described as shadow-like, emaciated humanoids with no facial features. They are wandering night spirits, sometimes linked to unfinished deaths or cosmic imbalance. They cause nightmares, sleep paralysis, and sudden terror during sleep, sitting on the chest, stealing breath, and whispering fear, feeding on fear and helplessness. Amulets invoking Shamash or Enki can weaken them. Daylight itself also weakens their influence, so if you've ever woken up frozen, unable to scream, the Alu might already know you. If you want to learn about more shadowy and faceless demons, follow for more, and comment what mythical creatures or beings you want me to share next. Slender Man isn't ancient, but he is one of the most powerful modern myths ever created. Slender Man is an American creepypasta, said to appear in forests, abandoned buildings, empty streets, and anywhere isolation can swallow you whole. He's an unnaturally tall and thin entity, approximately 8 to 14 feet. He has eerily long arms that go down to his knees and feet. Sometimes he can sprout long, black, tentacle-like appendages from his back. And his head is white and bald, with no facial features. No eyes, no mouth, no ears, nothing. Slender Man originates in 2009 on the Something Awful forums, as part of a horror Photoshop contest. But like all good folklore, the story escaped its creator. People began expanding the myth, adding sayings, rules, symbols, and encounters, until Slender Man stopped feeling fictional. Slender Man is so influential, he inspired a real-life criminal case, as in 2014, there was a stabbing by two 12-year-old girls in Waukesha, Wisconsin. The 12-year-old girls in question were Morgan Geiser and Anissa Wire, lured their friend Peyton Leutner into the woods, stabbing her over a dozen times, 19 to be exact. The girls attempted to murder her, wanting to become Slender Man's proxies. Luckily, Peyton survived, and the girls have faced criminal charges. As for Peyton, who survived the whole ordeal, she's been doing fine. Now when it comes to Slender Man himself, he stalks, observes, and psychologically breaks his victims, especially children, before abducting and erasing them entirely. He doesn't chase, he waits. He's capable of teleportation, psychological manipulation, mind control, and memory distortion. He can cause interference with cameras and electronics. The closer you are, the less real everything feels. Just looking into, or even so much as glancing into his featureless pale face, can cause extreme psychological torment, inducing insanity, terror, and the slender sickness, involving coughing, nausea, nosebleeds, and blackout. Slender Man has no confirmed weaknesses. Avoidance is the only rule. Don't look, don't follow, don't investigate. In modern media, he's featured in the 3-season series Marble Hornets, Everyman Hybrid TV series, the ARG vlog Tribe 12, the video game Slender the 8 Pages, and even the late and widely disliked 2018 movie Slender Man. Slender Man is proof that you don't need ancient gods to create a monster. You just need belief. And the internet. If you want to hear more terrifying creepypastas and modern myths, follow for more, and comment what mythical creatures or beings you want me to share next. People across the world describe the same shadowy figure, even though they've never met. They call him the Hat Man. The Hat Man appears all over the house, including in bedrooms, hallways, and doorways, usually appearing at night when everyone's half awake. The Hat Man appears as a tall, completely black silhouette. He has no facial features, except perhaps glowing red eyes from some accounts. He also has broad shoulders, and always a wide-brimmed hat. He is most commonly reported appearing during sleep paralysis. People swear they weren't dreaming, that their room was exactly as it was. He usually just stands there, watching, waiting, sometimes leaning, sometimes approaching. He doesn't attack, the fear is the harm, and there's no known way of stopping him, except perhaps waking up. Movies, forums, and medical studies all describe the same figure, so if you've seen him, you're not alone. And if you haven't, sleep well tonight. If you want to hear about more infamously documented silhouettes, follow for more, and comment what mythical creatures or beings you want me to share next.